the beginning of something unexpected. The sun was already high in the sky when David arrived at Unity Orientation Camp, Kwara State. He dragged his heavy box through the dusty entrance gate, along with hundreds of other fresh graduates wearing jeans, backpacks, and confused expressions. He had barely slept the night before. The camp was surrounded by high walls with a single iron gate guarded by soldiers. His shirt stuck to his body with sweat. His hands gripped the green file tightly, afraid of misplacing even one paper. "Next! Come forward!" a soldier barked at the gate. David stepped forward quickly. He showed all the required documents: call-up letter, school ID card, statement of result, passport photos, COVID-19 test slip, medical certificate. The woman behind the desk looked at him and stamped his form. "You are in platoon 2. Take this tag and go to the main registration hall." That was it. He was officially a Corps member. First shock. Registration Wahala. David joined the line at the main registration hall. Some people were sitting on the floor, others were fighting over their names not appearing on the list. "What kind of system is this?" one girl shouted. "They're using paper from 1960, another boy joked. It took David 3 hours to complete all stages. Verify his name. Submit passport photos. Collect camp tag and mattress ticket. Get platoon file and camp bank account details. Receive white t-shirt, shorts, socks, belt, and jungle boots." The clothes were oversized and dusty. The boots were 2 sizes bigger. "Welcome to NYSC," someone said behind him. David turned. A slim, light-skinned girl with neatly packed braids smiled at him. Her tag said, "Sarah Yu, Platoon 2. "Thanks," he replied, smiling back. He didn't know that this would be the beginning of something special. First night in camp, David found his bunk in room 5, block B. The mattress was thin and the ceiling fan barely worked. Over 30 guys shared the room. That night, no one slept well. People shouted on phone calls. Some were searching for lost boxes. Others laughed loudly about how camp already felt like prison. At 2 a.m., the bugle blew for the first time. Ta-ra-ra-ra. Everyone jumped up in fear. What is that? Morning signal. Soldiers don't play here. Better get up. Day 1, drill and discipline. By 4:30 a.m., the parade ground was full. Corps members stood in long lines under the cold morning breeze. Some wore their shorts backward. Others forgot their belts. One guy fainted and had to be carried out. Soldiers shouted, "Double up! Put your cap straight! You think you're in your village? No makeup on parade." David was tired, confused, and hungry. But in the middle of all the noise, his eyes kept finding Sarah in the crowd. She stood tall, focused, and strong. She looked like someone who had planned her life. David admired her quietly, learning the NYSC anthem. Later that day, everyone was gathered at the parade ground again for the opening ceremony. After the speech, they were taught the NYSC anthem. Under the sun or in the rain, with dedication and selflessness. Nigeria is ours. Nigeria we serve. Some sang with pride. Some mumbled. But David looked at Sarah. and for the first time, he sang it from his heart. Man o' War and the First Touch. 2 days later, the Man o' War drill started. It was fun for some and terrifying for others. Corps members had to climb ropes, crawl under nets, balance on wooden planks, jump over trenches. Sarah struggled with the rope climb. "I can't do this," she said, standing frozen. David stepped forward. "Let me help you." He guided her hand and supported her back gently. She made it over. When she landed, she turned and smiled at him. "You're strong," she said. "You're brave," he replied. That was their first real moment, and neither forgot it. The hidden camp life. While official activities continued, other things started happening quietly. Some girls shared phone numbers with soldiers. Secret night parties were held at Mammy Market. Lovers sneaked into the toilets or back of the hostels to talk and kiss. Some Corps members paid others to sign their attendance at lectures. David and Sarah stayed away from the bad crowd, but they couldn't ignore the fact that love was in the air, even if camp rules tried to block it. Talent show and campfire night. On day 14, the camp organized a talent show and campfire night. There was music, dancing, comedy, and cultural drama. Each platoon performed. Sarah danced for their platoon. David sang. When the fire was lit, Corps members gathered around the flames. It was beautiful. The night air was warm, and for the first time in weeks, everyone was relaxed. David and Sarah sat side by side, their shoulders touching. "Do you think this is real?" Sarah asked. "What?" David replied. "This, us, or is it just camp feelings?" David looked at the fire, then into her eyes. "I don't know what the future holds, but I know this feels real now." She nodded, and she held his hand. Secrets, signals, and soft hearts. The bond between David and Sarah grew quietly. They didn't tell anyone, but everyone in platoon too began to notice. They always sat beside each other during lectures. They laughed at the same jokes. They fetched food together from Mammy Market, shared sachet water, and helped each other arrange their jungle boots before parade. But they never crossed the line. Not in public, not in private, not in camp. Inside Mammy Market. Mammy Market was the soul of the camp. It was where everything happened, both good and bad. You could find food, rice, beans, noodles, shawarma, suya, phone charging spots, tailors to adjust your oversized NYSC clothes, secret lovers holding hands in quiet corners, soldiers flirting with female Corps members. David and Sarah usually sat at a small suya table by the corner. One evening, Sarah told him, "My friends say we're getting too close." "Are we?" he asked. "I don't know, but I don't want this to end after camp." David was quiet for a moment. Then he said, "Let's not make promises. Let's just live each day like it's the only one." She smiled sadly. "Okay." Drills, dust, and duties. The camp days were stressful. Every day was packed with activities. Morning drills by 5 a.m. Lectures from 9 a.m. till 1 p.m. Man-o-war drills in the afternoon. Platoon competitions, football, volleyball, quiz, drama, evening parade and light. Out by 10 p.m. David and Sarah's team lost their first football match, but they won the quiz competition. They practiced drama at night under the moon, laughing, arguing, forgetting the stress of the day of the mistake. One evening, David missed evening parade. He was feeling sick and weak. He stayed back in the hostel to rest. The next morning, he was summoned. A soldier shouted, "Where were you during parade? You think this is a holiday?" He was punished with 100 frog jumps. Sarah found him later that day, sitting alone under a mango tree, dust covering his trousers. "Why didn't you tell me?" she asked. "I didn't want you to worry." She sat beside him and offered him a cold, pure water sachet. "Next time, let me worry. We're in this together." That was the first time David felt like he didn't just have a friend, he had a partner. Trouble in camp. Whispers started flying around the hostels. A female corps member was caught sneaking into a soldier's room. 2 guys fought over a girl in Platoon 7. Someone fainted after taking tramadol to survive parade. A girl got drunk and collapsed at a night party in Mammy. Camp was more than just drills. It was a small world full of hidden drama. Sarah warned David, "We need to be careful. Campfires are everywhere." He nodded, but deep inside, he felt proud. Not of the chaos, but of the quiet way their love was growing, clean and calm like a river. The unspoken confession. One night after campfire rehearsal, they sat behind the parade ground on a bench no one used. The stars were clear. A soft breeze blew across the camp. David turned to her. "Sarah, what do you think love is?" She looked at him and thought for a moment. "I think love is when you don't need to hide who you are. You can be weak, strong, funny, or scared, and the person still stays." David swallowed hard. Then, "I think I love you." She didn't reply immediately. She just reached for his hand and held it. And that was enough. Campfire night. The final Saturday arrived. The campfire was the biggest event before the closing ceremony. All platoons gathered. There was music, there was dancing, there were speeches and laughter. People hugged like it was the last day of school. David and Sarah sat side by side again, their knees touching. When the fire was lit and the DJ played soft music, Sarah looked at him. "When we leave this camp, I might not see you again. I know. But if I don't, just know that what we had was real. More real than many relationships I've had outside." David took a deep breath. "Then let's not say goodbye. Let's just say thank you." She smiled. He smiled back. And they sat in silence, letting the fire speak for them. The final day, marching out. The last morning arrived. Everyone was dressed in full NYSC regalia, white on white, jungle boots shining. The parade was serious. Officials gave speeches, names were called, awards were given. Sarah received a certificate of excellence for Best Camp Volunteer. David stood in the crowd, cheering with pride. After the anthem, they all threw their caps in the air. It was done. NYSC orientation camp had ended. One last walk. People rushed to take pictures. Some cried, others ran to the gate with their bags. But David and Sarah walked slowly to the camp gate, holding hands. "This camp changed me," he said. "Me too. I'll miss this place, but I'll miss you more." They looked at each other. No kiss, no tears, just one deep hug, and a memory that would never fade, where it all stayed. As the camp gate slowly opened for the last set of core members to leave, David and Sarah stood still, side by side, bags in hand, hearts heavy. Others rushed forward, chasing vehicles, taking selfies, shouting farewells. But not them. They stood there, looking back at the parade ground, the hostels, the Mammy Market, the trees that gave little shade, but many memories. David smiled. "This camp, it gave me more than just NYSC clothes." Sarah chuckled lightly, brushing a strand of hair behind her ear. "It gave me you." They didn't need to say more. They knew they might walk out that gate and never see each other again. But one thing would always remain. Their first real love was found in the dust, the drills, the noise, the quiet talks. Inside a camp they never wanted to enter, but never wanted to leave. NYSC taught them discipline, but it also taught them love. And though it ended inside the camp, what they shared would stay in their hearts forever. The end.